Hey there, everyone. Uh, uh, come on, America. What the I just realized I did that backwards, and I've been doing it backwards the past couple of days. Just play the ad first and then go into it, because then you have like continuity. Lessons we learn. In addition, I figured out how to make how to make it work so you can stream it on the homepage on the website. We're trying to figure stuff out here. We're getting there. Doug Zanger, editor-in-chief. Let's see. I am using Green Room. Let's see. Okay, listen. Guests. Green Room. There we go. All right. I'm trying to figure all of this out. There's always something new going on here. Which is lovely. Which is really, really lovely. All right. Kyle, bail me out while I figure this out. I'm moving people into the green room.
You can drop me anytime if you need to bring more people.
No. It's not a you thing. It's a me thing.
Of course it is.
I know. So I'm moving everybody into the green room. And so here we go. So they probably can't hear what's going on, but that's okay. That makes it even funnier.
No, it's behind the scenes.
Right. So here's why people have said, well, why are you doing this? And like, why design? So you and I we ply our trade in words.
Yep.
And we have a great appreciation for design. So this is a little bit of a fanboying kind of thing for us, because I've said this before, and that the design remains one of the places that still retains a sense of wonder. And so I'm consistently and constantly blown away by designers. It doesn't matter what design it is. It could be UX or CX. It could be product design, industrial design. These are really, really smart, sharp people. And a lot of times independent agencies don't necessarily get the credit for their design chops. And we're incredibly lucky to have joining us Daniel, yeah.
From the Miami
co-founder of Mrs. and Mr. He's not MIA. He's in Miami. MIA. First of all, thank you for you and Kate being jury co-presidents. We've talked a lot. I was telling somebody today that it was just so nice having Daniel on, because he asked such amazing questions, and you were probing so many different interesting directions that I didn't even think of. So it just added a great dimension to it. But the work you guys do is tremendous. Let's start with that. But the fact that you helped us along as we bumble along trying to figure all this shit out, we really appreciate it. So welcome. And how long do we have you for?
So it looks like I'm going to be boarding in about 35, 40 minutes. So I'll literally be the last person getting on the plane.
Okay, no. Sorry.
At one point, I'll slam the laptop down and just.
Okay, no, that's fine. So let's just get started with number 20, and this is Friends Everywhere for Levi's. Friends Everywhere, Levi's Princess Mononoke. So what I want to do is I want to play this first piece, and then we'll talk a little bit about the work. So, I mean, a really interesting collection. And yesterday, Friends Everywhere, 2 days ago, we were talking about Pride. And so this continues this really interesting journey for the agency and for the brand and creating some of these collections and creating some of these environments. And Daniel, I want to, Levi's is a venerable brand, and it can be really it can be challenging to make sure that you're retaining the sense of what the brand is without going too far afield and people not understanding it. First of all, your observations about this work, but also having experienced this, the importance of, if you are going to do something that's a little more outside the lane of what you're usually known for, what are some of the benefits and what are some of the pitfalls?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the first thing, when Kate and I had looked at this and seeing it again today, I think, yes, it doesn't just play. It's not Beyonce, right? It's not the all Americana kind of,
right.
Levi's. It doesn't stack up to the core positioning. But what I think it really does is create a sense of artistry and poetry that people might not necessarily associate with the brand.
Right.
And while a purist might say, well, how does that really stack up to, the core, the core sort of brand proposition and brand positioning? I actually think that today in fashion, especially, you find that brands that, are more adventurous, aren't sort of essentially deviating to some extent from the norms, don't really get to stand out. So I just think this sort of style of animation, and as I said, I find it to be particularly poetic. That's the best way I know how to describe this work. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not.
No. I think so, because there is a I'm going to play a quick there's a quick 8-second vibe. A few of these. Let me play a couple of these real quick. So you have this, and it's very, very, very chill. And then you have that. And so there is a sense of peace to this. And this is a traditional, so Princess Mononoke, I don't know that much about it. I know that it was a very popular film in Japan, and so there's a certain peace to it, Peace to it, but still retaining the high quality of this Levi's brand.
Yeah, I think there's the fantasy and realism combined. I love the moss dripping off the trees. I love the color combinations that all come together to kind of they blend yet stand out. And I think that's what kind of drew me to this. I thought, wow, I don't know anything about Princess Mononoke, but when I looked it up, and I was like, oh wow, that really kind of captures it. That captures it, but still kind of retains that Levi's realism.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would add is the garments themselves are part of the branding. You know what I mean? Like, they're part of the design.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a design system wrapping a product. So I just think, where product and design, they're just intertwined, and there's just a lovely symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. Love it.
Obviously, with nature being a meta theme. So anyway, I think it's just
I love it.
Very well.
I love it. All right, cool. And we got one more coming up from them. That's called a tease in our business, but we are going to go to number 19, and that is our friends at Fortnite Collective in Boulder. Hello again, everybody, and we are celebrating this stuff. Hello, how's that? Where's what was it, Mocha?
Mocha's here.
Come here. Oh, look at that face. I know. Look at that dog's face.
Love it.
This is about as iconic as it gets, right? I mean, this brand. So Fortnite folks, talk a little bit about the brief, and tell us a little bit about the work.
Sure. Hello, Devin Ryder, president here at Fortnite.
If it tastes too good.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Bragg. So it's this Bragg is 112, maybe 113 years old this year. It was probably something that is in 90% of everybody's pantry across the U.S. Half the people don't know how to use it. The other half use it religiously.
Right.
And what's interesting about this brand, the history of it, really quirky. Paul and Patricia Bragg were the founders, and they were like best friends with Jack LaLanne. They were like the original hippies. They were the first people to really come out with like natural wellness. They were like 30 years ahead of their time. They were seen as like freaks and introverts, and then today they're glorified as like brand ambassadors of wellness. Most people know Bragg by the actual apple cider vinegar, the liquid, and it's this weird elixir, right? It's good for your gut, it's good for brain health, but you can wash your cat with it as well. It's really bizarre on how you can utilize it. And the brief here was, so for many years, Bragg just really had their liquid. They launched these supplements like most brands are doing, packing all the efficacy into what they do on the liquid side into the capsules. What was interesting about this is about 2 or 3 years ago, a brand called Goli made its way into the stratosphere. And Goli are like apple cider vinegar gummies from another brand. They're packed with sugar. They taste like candy. You can eat an entire bag and there's no efficacy.
Right.
So 3 of our supplements equates to 30 gummies that you would eat. So we tried to just put this out there. At the time, Goli was sort of the lead horse when it came to more interesting and modern supplements. And what we wanted to do is basically say, without naming names, that gummies are basically candy. And if you want something that actually works, lean into Bragg's supplements.
All right, so let's take a look at a little bit of the work here.
If it tastes too good to be true, it probably is. That's why we made capsules, not gummies. Bragg apple cider vinegar supplements are the only ACV supplement with 750 milligrams of acetic acid per serving. It's not weird if it works.
I like that you just like said it's not weird if it works.
Yeah, so our original brief for this, like when we first pitched this business 3 years ago, the insight we found was that Bragg is the longest running experimental brand that's out there. I mean, they've been doing this 112 years, and we continue to discover new ways to make the brand interesting. And just a shout out to the production company, which was Warm and Fuzzy, who we worked with, that brought this to life, and it did a really good job.
Nice.
Let's take a look at this other one right here.
The strength of 3 of these equals 30 of those. The only ACV supplement with 750 milligrams of acetic acid per serving.
All right. Yeah, no, that's what you're supposed to. Daniel, your thoughts? Daniel's frozen. Is Daniel frozen?
Yep.
Kyle, your thoughts?
I know I've known this brand for years, and I use their apple cider vinegar, and I love how the design it stays really, really true to what the original is. They've the bold colors, the yellow, the red, the fact that it's right up there. It really sticks true to what the brand is all about, and I think the animation goes right in line with that. Just leading through with those colors. I love it. I think it's great. Very simple, but very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say something. Sorry, hopefully I didn't freeze, but I was going to say something very similar. What I love about this is it's not a rebrand, it's not a refresh, it's not leading into any of those buzzwords. It's actually taking what's always just been distinctive about Bragg and just making it even more interesting and distinctive. And I think sometimes in design there can be an urge to sort of want to change things or mix them up or remix them, and I just love that this feels so fresh and so modern, and yet it's sort of essentially unchanged, and that is the beauty of it. So
what I will say is one of the most underrated aspects of anything, but especially design, is restraint. Right? It could have been very easy. And listen, I've known Devin for a minute, so he was probably going to do some sort of John Bon Jovi thing. That was probably his idea. And then, he was probably going to do some Jersey stuff. And then, look, I'm not sure, we'd be talking about something else. But I mean, restraint really does matter, but you're absolutely right, Daniel. This was to be able to do a very, very, very high level iteration, not easy to pull off because you can sometimes get away from the anchor of the brand. And to the Fortnite people, understanding that, you've talked about this, but understanding the importance and really the gravity of this brand, it's really well known. And it seems to me that this is just going to be such a nice anchor to remind people about, to your point, Devin, where you're saying like people have this in their cabinets, but they forget. So I think it's a great reminder.
And one other point I would say, and thanks for the accolades. This was one instance. Huge. Why would we want to make the logo bigger? Like, that's the thing a client asks all the time. This is one where we were loud and proud. Like, there was something iconic about the look and the feel, and we've all sort of seen it, but we don't know where. And This was a brand that we said, let's just, put a flag in the ground and be really proud about what we're about.
Yeah, and I think that there's so much more there's so much more competition on the shelf now, and so this is a good time for this brand to reintroduce itself.
Yep.
So
right on.
Yeah. All right. Give the dogs a big hug and a kiss. By the way, we are going to have Indie Agency Pet of the Year. So that entry is coming up very soon. We will have a judge's choice and we will have a people's choice. So I'm just telling you all to prepare for this. Okay. All right. Have fun in Boulder. Thank you so much for your support. Congratulations. You guys are awesome. We love you.
Cheers, guys.
All righty. Let's move on to me not being ready and number 18. And we are at Friends Everywhere again. So this is for Levi's Emma Chamberlain. Let's take a look at that.
I love Bruce.
Again, you're talking about a hookup for a very iconic brand. I really like the style of this, though. Doesn't get too far out of the lane. And Kyle, you're from Northern California. It had that vibe, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That is about as Northern California as it gets, and it really fits with kind of Emma Chamberlain kind of having that earthy vibe. And I thought everything fit well. The colors of the kind of the grayness of the Northern California coast, along with, but it pops at the same time while being earthy. I think it's really lovely work.
Yeah. Daniel,
you're
muted.
Muted.
You're muted.
You're muted,
right.
Daniel.
You're muted. I mean, it was.
Sorry, I didn't want you to hear the like airline announcement.
Yeah, Zone 6.
But
yeah.
I was just going to say, I wasn't going to add much except that, again, the agency did a fabulous job, but I think there's clearly, someone on that team that just has a great eye for art direction, and whoever the production company is, whoever the DP is, the style, all of that has just been really well thought out. So I just sort of wanted to mention that, because there are times when design and art direction can get a little bit conflated, and that's fine.
Oh my God, yes.
It's a bit of a blurry line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is one where, yes, there's great design, but there's also just impeccable art direction involved in this particular work. So I just wanted to acknowledge that for the team that really led the art direction.
Yep, 5 out of 5 would recommend. Okay, let's move on to number 17. And we are going to Foulmouth Creative for Tin Can. Oh my God, Jordan, where'd Tessa go? Oh, there you go.
She's in here. Hello.
Okay, there we go. All right, we got something to watch. Let's take a look at this.
The official historical retelling of phone-based things. It all started with Alexander Graham Bell. A bunch of important stuff happened next, and now kids have cell phones, and we might have gone too far. Introducing Tin Can, the new school landline for friends. It's just like our old phones with no texting or games. And it has all the other regular phone things too, like buttons and twirly cords. And well, you talk into it.
Hello.
But unlike your old landline, Tin Can plugs into a regular outlet, not a phone jack, and connects to your Wi-Fi. There's even an app for parents to control which numbers call in and out, so no stranger danger. You can also set callable hours. Lights out, phones off. And it comes in these colors. And that one too. And these blasts from the past. It's a plug-in-the-wall phone for friends to call friends and friends' parents, and some other friends, grandparents, or even 911.
What's your emergency?
With Tin Can, the world is your parental-approved Voister. Tin Can, the new school landline for friends.
Whoa. Please just talk.
So Tin Can, early stage D2C startup based out of Seattle. The founder is actually Rachel's neighbor,
right,
over in West Seattle. And they came to us wanting a ground up brand build. All they had was a really cool product idea, a very, very preliminary website that had like pretty rad throwback vibes. And they had a really fantastic brand name. So we worked with them over the last couple of months to do absolutely everything from logo to color, typography, photography, graphics. The little icon that you saw at the end of the video, his name is actually Timothy. And then the launch demo video that we just watched, as well as their website, which the new one just went live yesterday, and the design for their companion app for parents.
I gotta think of a Timothy. I gotta think of we have to think of something for Chalamet. So oh my, and you wait, hold on. Let me back up for a second. You said 2 months?
Yeah, it was a couple months. It was a really quick turn.
Up like a carny ride. Jeez.
Yeah, it was lightning fast. And it was just the three of us doing absolutely everything that you're seeing outside of edit and color. We
were on the ground sweaty with camera, like a dad cam, 1080p dad cam. We
disposable cameras.
Disposable cameras. And then we were in a studio setting with Rachel puppeteering the tiny hands and claws that you saw. So it was really fun. It was a labor of love. I think we were all kind of obsessed with the idea as millennials and us getting our start gabbing with our friends over the phone. So it was a fun project to work on because obviously really resonates with us, but how do we make it cool for the youths that really have no idea what this concept is? It was a good time.
I'm like looking at like purchase.
Yeah.
And it's cool. We helped them develop. So they had the the AT&T trim line was what they launched with, which we all know and love. And then in the process, they were developing their original handheld model. And so we, helped inform that design and obviously the color work that went into that. So I think everyone was just super eager to get it out into the world. So it was a blast.
Daniel,
it's love the work. I should be not on mute, right? Yeah,
you're not.
Good. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you did it in 2 months is kind of sensational, considering it's not like you just gave them an identity, but to your point, I mean, there's a launch video. And so I think the work is great. The question I had is, when you were designing this, and again, you were moving so fast, but was it more trying to be designed for kids or more for parents, or kind of both? Like who is ultimately sort of seeing this?
Yeah, I mean, that was like the ultimate challenge. So millennial parents are the purchasers. So we needed to appeal to them, but then also have a cool factor for the kiddos that would ultimately be using it. So majority of the communication is geared towards the parents, towards the purchasers, but wanted it to feel cool and exciting. And we always talk about the sticker test and like, would someone be excited about plastering this brand on their water bottle or their notebook? So that's something that we were always talking about. So like the logo work, I don't know, for us, it felt very like reminiscent of like 90s skate culture in a way. So again, like playing into millennial lore. And then Timothy is like kind of for the kids, where he's like the cool mascot companion that hides within the brand experience and has, you know, specific ways of playing into how they use a tin can. So ultimately the parents, but again, like the phone design was designed and you know, in turn for the kids. Like they wanted to be really excited about having that in their room or in the kitchen.
We got to come up with Chalamet. We got to come up with a clever Chalamet.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll workshop it.
We'll workshop it. Listen, fucking home run. I mean,
thank you. Yeah, we shamelessly love this work so much. So excited.
Are you entering this in can?
Yeah, tin can is going to go to can. Absolutely.
Fuck yeah. All right.
So much fun.
That.
So much fun.
I love it. Nice. All right. Listen, I could just talk ad nauseum here, but I'm not going to. So amazing. Congratulations. Awesome stuff.
Thank you.
Our Pacific Northwest home people. It's always good to promote the home team. So we love you. Thank you so much. All righty, let's move on. We are at number 15. Yeah, there we go. We're at number 15. Oh, it's Fortnite Collective. I'm gonna mute. I can't mute Daniel, can I? I can mute him.
You can.
Did I? I did mute him.
Yes, you did.
All right. Hey there, Fortnite Collective again. Yes, it is good to be back.
On some tin cans. I think you sold 15 tin cans in this room.
Right? Oh my God, so great. Oh, so much. Now listen, like Fortnite and Foulmouth, like that deserves a mashup. Find something to work on together. You guys would absolutely love working with each other. So let's look at some of your lovely stuff. Hold on, here we go.
There's some magic in the hills of Idaho. If you've never ever been, you'll have to go. There's no lines and no bad attitudes. And up on Baldy, there's a mighty awesome view. Ski on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Ski on the sunny side of life. It'll help you lift your day, it'll help you carve your way. If you ski on the sunny side of life.
I love this. So, you know, a somewhat similar in the similar milieu as Steamboat, which we talked about yesterday. It's excellent. And I love the design on this because it is modern. But remember, I'm a kid of the 70s. And so this gives me like really good, like positive 70s vibes. It's excellent stuff. Talk about the brief a little bit.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for hosting and having us again. I'm Matt Cubis. I'm a creative director and head of design over here. The brief here, you know, like you mentioned, we do work on a lot of, you know, we're out in Colorado, working on a lot of ski resorts. And a huge part of those projects is kind of like really trying to like, you know, pin down and put your finger on what is truly special about these individual mountains and being able to, you know, really clearly articulate that kind of aesthetic and that vibe and that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Sun Valley is in a really interesting place because it's kind of far from the big, you know, the big resorts of Colorado.
Right.
Off the path, both in kind of like vicinity and in spirit. It doesn't have like the huge giant lines that are typical of, you know, large resorts. There's not clouds that you have to dodge and ski through and things like that. And there's not that like kind of sense of like bougie entitlement, or like it's more of a scene than a place, a ski mountain. It's special in that it's like far off, it's far away from that. But it feels like a little place, a little bit out of time, which is where a lot of this kind of like dreamy vintage vibe comes from. It doesn't have the baggage of those big mountains, and instead it's got like 250 days of pure sun and skiing. So this campaign, yeah, it's really trying to nail down the skiing on the sunny side is like a mentality shift, away from kind of the headaches of the big mountains and trying to get back into that time period where these mountains are kind of like empty, full of beautiful snow, full of beautiful sunshine, and you could just get back to that kind of like pure vibe of skiing.
If you think about it, by the time you get to Sun Valley, you'll have done your first run at Vail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Daniel, we got you for a little bit longer. So your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I mean, everything. Sorry, I didn't catch your name, but the creative director that was just speaking. I mean, everything you described in terms of what you were looking to achieve is exactly kind of how I was perceiving it, if you will, before you explained it. So I just love that this brings to life the concept, and this being a little bit of an antidote to the Vales and the Aspen. So I just think it's really simpatico. It kind of makes you want to, I don't even ski, and it makes me want to ski. And I've seen a lot of sort of skiing campaigns out there that don't necessarily speak to me, but I think this can actually be good for kind of, also recruiting lap skiers or people who are not sure. Mm-hmm. There's just something really inviting and welcoming.
Yeah, and think about also,
and the line is great, right? I know this.
Yeah.
Conversation.
Yeah. No, the line's great. And the other thing too is Daniel clearly did not get upgraded. But the other thing too is if you're somebody that wants to work at a resort, like there's just such positive vibes in all of this. And the truth of the matter is that Idaho gets a ton of sun like this. So they get dumped on, but it is legitimately super, super sunny. Yep. Daniel, last thoughts before you go, because I know you got to get in there so you can get your bag of peanuts.
No, listen, this is great. I wish I could be here for the whole time. I'm excited to get out of Miami, but I really would have liked to be in here for another 45 minutes. So
we're going to workshop that as a concept off Broadway. Excited to get out of Miami.
Yes.
So I am going to have to bail, but just again, like I said, it's not just the work that I find inspiring. It's just meeting people that are doing interesting things and marching to the beat of their own drum. So thank you for sort of indulging me. Doug, thanks for bringing me back into this today, and I'll circle back with you tomorrow at some point.
All right. Sounds good. Have a great flight. Flight.
Well, he is leaving. I will give my 2 cents on this. I absolutely love this because it reminds me of how skiing used to be in the late 70s, early 80s in California. This has that vibe to it, but it's totally updated. It just the typeface, everything like that says like bold 70s mountain, but it also says, hey, this is exactly who we are now, and let's take you back to a time, but it's now. There's nostalgia and modernity. Both modernity, yes. Right. Yeah, the same thing. And I love the fact that I love the typeface. It hits me on all the right places.
Modernity.
Yeah.
You're never gonna live that shit down.
Oh, come on, man.
Modernity.
Listen.
I know
the people at Fortnite will back me up on that. They know I have my modernity to me.
All right, listen, I'm gonna bail you out. Fortnite. Again, you work in this space a lot, but any project that you do, there's always something to learn. What did you learn working on this particular campaign? And what do you learn in working with, because you have Steamboat, you have Sun Valley, you have that variety. And what do you learn that informs, like, okay, here's how we get better. Here's how we get better. Here's how we get better.
Yeah, well, I guess the first thing, I learned how to ski in deep snow a little bit better than I knew how to before. So that was one thing necessary for the task. But like I said at the beginning, it's really like trying to, like, a lot of these mountains from afar, from a glance, product, on a product level, they're similar. You know what I mean? There's not a lot that separates it. It's really like more of a feeling and an aesthetic and like a vibe. So like really trying to like parse that out, articulate that on paper, and articulate that in like a sense of an aesthetic sense is it's a lot of times it's a fine line to walk, but it starts to come across. You mentioned the steamboat work, and a lot of these mountains, they're not like hugely dissimilar, on paper, but like in the sense that you have when you're there, they're miles apart,
Yep.
So like being able to try to
personality from each one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you go to them and you kind of hone in on the personality that each one brings to life when you're there, and then trying to make that executed in the work.
Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Lizzie. I'm an art director.
Just want to make sure you get your props, Yeah. And I love that we got nerdy here. There was a Kerning reference. There was a Kerning reference. I love it. All right. Congratulations again. You are free to stay. You are free to go. But as always, awesome stuff. I actually, if you're down for this, if you wouldn't mind sending me a poster, because this is frameable quality.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. So, get it on your wall for sure.
I would absolutely do that. All right. Congratulations. Really, really well done. All righty.
Nice one.
Okay. So here we're going to bring the Barker folks in, because here's the thing. If you were paying attention, I skipped 16. I made a colossal mistake. Hi, everybody. I'm an idiot, so sorry about that. So here is, I want to pull up this. Let's see here. I want to start with this, because this gives us a little context about what we are going to watch. And I just love, we'll get into this, but let's just soak in the goodness here.
So what if I'm extra? I'm a craveable type. Fall in love with myself. I'm a tasty delight. Get a taste of the I'm so confident, right? Yeah, I'm feeling myself. Got the juice in the Sprite. Yeah, I move like a rebel, but I'm cute like a bunny. And I think that it's funny how they hate me and love me. Now I'm breaking the mold. Run the world cause I'm cold. I don't need your approval. Feeling sassy and bold. So what if I'm extra? I'm a craveable type. So what if I'm extra? I'm a craveable type. So what if I'm extra? I'm a craveable type.
Yeah. I mean, Princess Nokia. Excellent. I want, first of all, Mazel Tov, wonderful. But I want to start with, let's start with the brief, and then I do want to dig into a little bit of the production design, because it's like off the charts amazing. So let's start with the brief, and what the brief was, and where the journey took you.
Yes. Hi, I'm Angela, art director at Barker. So this is for Maidenform, which is effectively a heritage brand for Hanes. And they came to us because they have this new line of product called M by Maidenform, which you can see there's no underwire. It's very smooth and seamless. And they wanted to come to us to target that younger audience who definitely hones in on self-expression. There's a lot of talk about who this consumer is and how she can wear this however she likes, as innerwear or outerwear, throw on a jacket or lounge on it at home.
Right.
So this is definitely a more modern product line for them. And I think it definitely started from feeling and experiencing the product firsthand. We got to go to their head office and their head studio in person in New York,
right,
and actually feel the product. And a lot of the words that was describing the fabric and everything was like words like yummy and like delicious, buttery, soft.
Right.
And this all came from the designers who made the product, the client. And we just started repeating that language when we started brainstorming and concepting. So that kind of led to this sort of idea of sort of craveable intimates that you can wear however you please. And it's very over the top, not defining how she can wear the bra. And I think it aligns very well with this sort of consumer who, they don't want to be told how to feel in it. It's like, this is our product. This is what you can do with it. Yeah.
Right. Rachel, dig into the strategy a little bit here. And I'm going to bring Jordan in because I love her opinion on great work.
I'm going to have to travel back in time because this feels like so long ago now and the world has changed so much. But we, as Angela really perfectly said, we realized that there was this tactile feeling that you got when you were experiencing the product. And that was our remit. How do we make people really feel what these products are like without actually touching them? And so there were a lot of examples of things that you might have missed if you were watching really quickly, but seeing the stretch in a room where people would be stretching, or talking or hinting at the softness and the butteriness while people are next to these cute little cuddly bunnies. And so it was really our job to make this consumer feel seen. She's extra with a side of extra. She's really all about self-expression. She's looking for brands that she can wear that make her feel like it's her showing herself rather than her wearing another brand. And so this, all of that sort of came together with a lot of other pieces that I'm frantically trying to look for to find for us. But it was a fun, very collaborative with our agency partner, our client partner rather, process.
What was it like working with bunnies?
Horrible. They're the worst.
I think originally we were wanting like cats, dogs, and bunnies. We had to pick one animal. Like, we'll settle on bunnies.
No, but it's a unique thing because it's like, oh, there's bunnies in this ad. No, it's amazing. Jordan, I'd love for your opinion because I love it when you give your feedback on work.
Well, first I will say we also shot with a bunny for Tin Can, and it was a real mixed bag. A lot of poop. That's all I'll say.
Right.
You never
just
know.
Like children. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I think this is really great. What jumps out to me is, I think first and foremost, the production design, the production quality. So you guys, first off, like the color is fucking dialed. It is so good. It is so distinct and sharp. And it's just something I always look at because color can be really, really hard. And I think especially given how diverse your audience is, which is awesome, figuring out how to really make sure that everyone looks their best in color can be a really big challenge, also with lighting. So I think you guys did a really great job. And then just aesthetically, there's such a good blend of hard and soft. It's feminine without being like pink washy or overly cute. And I just love the kind of creative tension, the visual tension that you've captured there.
Yeah. There's your Creds deck reel right there. No, but Jordan's absolutely right. I think there was just such a nice interplay, and to her point, color can be the most difficult thing to do, and it's just when it works together the way that it's been designed here, it's you don't look away. I mean, sometimes it can be overwhelming, and it's just like, oh, my eyes subconsciously might feel fatigued, but this was just really engaging, and it just made me lean in a lot more. Ingrid, what did you learn with this work, with this campaign?
Well, I think we learned that you can take a legacy brand and really revitalize it for a new generation, a new product, and bring it into the modern day and position it to move forward.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Nancy, Nancy just came in. Nancy, are you there? Turn your camera on. Hold on. Nancy, oh, there's Nancy. Hi. There we are.
Woo, Nancy.
Rachel, let's put everybody up here. Rachel, go ahead again.
I was just going to say we have to give kudos to our clients as well. This is the first time that the brand had advertised in quite a while, and this was a very bold step for them to take. And I think the creative team did a remarkable job of holding their hands the whole time and giving them the confidence that each decision was right. So bravo to our creative team for sure.
Confidence. Love confidence. Here we go. Yep. Look at that.
Oh, that's super sweet.
Yep. Solid. All right. Nancy, you came in late. Anything to add? We were talking about you behind your back, by the way.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Please tell me more. Was there a question that I missed, or is there anything I can fill in that?
What's the capital of Peru? No. What is it, Kyle?
Lima?
It is Lima.
Lima,
Yeah.
Peru.
No, this is excellent work, and I love that you're working on the wider portfolio, and you know, we'll be talking about that more in the future, but this is excellent work. So kudos to all of you, and thank you per usual for your support of Indie Agency News. You are newer members, but we've had a great time getting to know what you've been up to, because Kyle and I have known, we've known Sandy forever. So so there you go. But thank you, everybody, and congratulations. Jordan, thanks for popping in. All right, everybody. So we're gonna move on to our next one. We need a producer, Kyle.
Yeah, we got to get there. That's one of these days.
We need a producer. Let's see. So we move on to number 14.
I'm 16.
Shut up.
I had
Oh
to.
my God. Of course you did. Party at the Moon Tower.
It was
All
told
right.
there'd be no math involved.
There would be no math involved in this. So let me get to this. Let's get to 14. I want to play this first.
This is the story about how we bent the rules of time. 62% of consumers say they don't have time for self-care. So we brought in the expert to help them make time. Nope, not that guy. Not him either. This guy, Father Time. Huh. First, we transformed this age-old symbol of, well, aging into a youthful advocate for self-care. Then, we spread the word about Orange Twist as the place to go to make time for yourself. And while all those people made some time, the campaign made a lot of impact.
Don't that feel real funky, y'all?
40.3 million impressions. Over 1,500% increase in social mentions, surpassing goals by 36%. Increased daily site traffic by 120%. Doubled monthly lead volume. Increased conversion rate by 5 times. Decreased CPA by 50%. Boosted brand awareness by 22%. And reclaimed more time than we could count. If we can turn back the hands of Father Time, imagine what we can do for you.
Love it.
Well done. All right. So unmute yourselves. Before you talk, make sure that you introduce your name so that we know what's up. So let's start with what this brand is. So let's start with that.
My name is Warren Schaefer. I'm the president of Moontide. Orange Twist is a med spa, a chain of 16 right now. Sorry, 16 location med spas across the U.S.
Okay. What was the brief on this one?
Well, actually, this is an interesting one. This is a repeat client. We did work for them for several years, launched their brand with a new style and a modern look. Then they left and they brought it all in-house. And then about a year and a half later, they came knocking on the door and said, please help us again.
That's usually how it works.
Yeah. So we were happy to oblige. And we needed to make the brand. They had lost their way. They had gone off the brief. They brought it in-house and kind of bastardized what the brand look and feel.
Right.
So we had to put it back on the rails again. And give it a new modern look again. So cleaned up the logo, modernized the orange,
right?
And then obviously introduced Father Time.
So much fun. I
Wait,
remember when this came out.
Somebody made a comment. Jesus meets Flava Flav.
Yeah, I know. I love the transformation from Bob Weir to Lebowski. I just think it's it was just so, when it first came out, I was like, that's pretty damn genius. It was so much fun, and the color palette, the design color palette, it all meshed together, and it just made for a really fun. Okay, what the heck is Orange Twist? I got to get to know what this brand is all about. So it definitely served its purpose well, and I love what you do.
Let's take a look at a 30 here.
Just what kind of sorcery is this?
This? Orange Twist.
Huh. Where the humans had learned to turn back the hands of time. My hands. Father Time. With age-defying treatments like facials and lasers.
Got time for a hydrofacial?
Orange Twist. Make time for you.
And just a reminder to everybody, wear sunscreen. And if you're going to wear sunscreen, this is hashtag not an ad. I'm a Sunbum devotee, and they are independently owned. So Sunbum, we don't care what sunscreen you use, just use sunscreen. I think that's basically what it is. It's sort of what they say. So anyway, sunbum.com. Hashtag not an ad. But we're back to Orange Twist. Here's the thing about this, and I'm going to bring Andy Millard from Curiosity on this. This type of brand / product, a couple of things. Number one, a lot of times they are like just one privately owned, which is fine, which is great. The other thing is that it can seem intimidating, if that makes sense. What I love about this is it occupies a place that feels really accessible. It doesn't feel you're not in Oregon yet? Okay, we gotta get some locations in Oregon. But I think the accessibility of this, so you'd mentioned that this was a great brand glow up, and you do see the before and after. But talk about the importance of accessibility, because in a lot of ways this is a discretion, especially now, this is a discretionary purchase, but this feels very, very welcoming. Talk a little bit about that, Moontide folks.
Well, before I just talk about the welcoming part, what's really unique in the category is the seeming focus on the male. This category is always female centric, right?
Yep.
So by introducing Father Time, it really breaks the mold as to how the industry, who the industry points towards. And while it's still a predominantly female industry, the incidence of men, it has been increasing throughout the years. So we use Father Time as a reference, but at the end of the day, he does relate equally to men and women. As far as the accessibility is concerned, I mean, almost the name itself, Orange Twist, gives you a feeling of uplifting and accessibility and fun.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the other med spas focus on the med part a little bit more, right? I don't know. I think it's naturally lended itself to going into a space that was more welcoming, and also the locations where they're placed are in high traffic, prominent shopping facilities. You're going over to Whole Foods and you bump into an Orange Twist. It's again another accessibility piece.
I love that, Kyle. First of all, let's go to Andy Millard. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's really clever. I think at least like with this screen we're looking at here, I think photography and social is like super key, and I think your use of like close in cropped photography can really like help in the social world. And then I think like the hint of orange like all around from like a a brand point of view, I think is really nice. I'm a big fan of type, and so I think you chose a really great typeface that like soft. It's almost like a thin Cooper. I really think it was a good touch. So all in all, I would agree with the accessibility thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Kyle.
Yeah, and being able to bring a male aesthetic into the med spa, which is definitely not the case almost ever. It really gives that touch that okay, that might be open for everybody. Okay, it's not just women going in and who have way too much money going in and getting dermabrasions or whatever they're getting. It's like, okay, this could be accessible for me. I might just want to go in and like look slightly less older than I am. Yeah. Because I could certainly use one here and there, but I mean it does
so bad right now.
But it with the orange and the definite tones of orange, I think it really softens it up, but keeps it bold nonetheless.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. All right, Moontide folks. Last word. What's the most rewarding? What was most rewarding about this campaign? I mean, obviously there's the nuts and bolts, but when you were able to sit back, look at the entirety of it, and kind of nod, what are you thinking when you're doing that? All right, we did this.
Well, being a data-driven shop like we are, the whole concept, obviously not Father Time specifically, but the whole concept was rooted in research about the target, where 63% of people report that they don't make enough time for themselves, but they know they should be making more time. So that's where it all spawned from. But I think the most rewarding part is seeing that it's working. As you saw in that initial video, you can make great ads, you can make ads that work, but often you don't make ads that are great and also work. And in this instance, that's what we've been able to achieve. Their sales are great. Their social following has increased dramatically. Website visits are up. Completion of bookings are up. In every measure that we look at, everything's going the right direction. So we'll just have to see when the next one can come out that brings Father Time, maybe with a partner or something. Who knows?
Okay. That's what we call a tease in the business. All right. Thank you, all of you. Where was the? Oh, there's the dog. Oh my God.
Oh, he just walked by.
Yeah, I know. Had boy or girl?
That's a girl. We got like 5 dogs out there.
One of many.
Yeah. Well, we're excited. I think we're gonna have to do a 5-for-1 entry kind of thing.
There you go. We're ready.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, first of all, huge thanks for supporting this mission. Love hearing the story, and it's just it is again looking at performance meets creativity in a way that works. I love it. So congratulations, and thanks again for supporting this mission.
Thank you guys.
All righty. Andy, you're gonna stay here because we're gonna move on to number 13. And it is Brooks. Find your run, hide, and seek. Andy Millard, Paul Rudd's long lost brother. You've never heard that before, have you?
No, but I like Paul Rudd. He's a cool guy.
Are you serious? You've never heard that before?
No.
Oh God. Okay. Well, there you go.
Thanks,
years ago, my students used to call me Dana Carvey when I wouldn't have my glasses on. So
I can see that.
Yeah. Well, different than Paul Rudd. Let's talk about Brooks. How long have you had this brand as a client? And note, based in Seattle. So there we go.
I don't know, 3-4 years. But anyway, I mean, this was a fun project. Personally, didn't work on it, but we did social for Brooks, and this was I believe it was like a community engagement sort of idea, which was our idea was we made like 3 of these doodles, like super dense, like kind of Where's Waldo sort of idea.
Right.
In-house on a pretty ridiculous timeline. Luckily, we have a really talented illustrator in-house who's also a great designer. So yeah, it was like a lot of fun. I'm not sure how many pieces you have in this.
Let's see. I got 1, 2. I've got 3. Yeah, walk us through some of these.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could better, but so the idea is that there are Brooks shoes hidden in these drawings, and Brooks, if you're familiar with the brand, they've always had this sort of illustrative component to them. Since this, they've sort of like updated their brand, and it's not as like cute and soft. It's more like they've like kind of turned this edge into this like rugged running lifestyle brand. But at this time, it was more like, you know, playful illustration. And so, yeah, that's kind of the idea, is like through these 3 different illustrative posts, you know, find the shoes.
I love that. I love it. And, you know, I go back to, oh God, Kyle, it was, so an agency North here in Portland had Brooks, and this was years ago, but they had done something with the presidents of the United States of America.
Oh yeah.
Remember that video?
Yes.
And so what I've noticed is with this brand, it narratively led, but in a slightly different like cut of that jib, and they've placed a great amount in the past. I mean, the fact that this is animated makes all the sense in the world. Oh, I repeated 2 slides. But I love the fact that this is easy to get into, right? And it's just you don't have to think too hard, which is kind of nice. But what else are you doing for the brand, Andy?
So to be totally frank, I'm not exactly sure where things stand right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure, you know, we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah. No. But we can focus in on this. But, you know, in the past few years, it's a very interesting and competitive category. And I think work like this takes it out of the lane of everybody else, which I think is good. And I think that, like, if you look at New Balance is doing it a slightly different way. I really like, because it is its own thing.
Right. Yeah. So Brooks has like their 3 top competitors. It's like Nike, Hoka, and maybe like Saucony or something. And, you know, they're all like what they would call like big sweat brands. So lots of grit, lots of hustle. And so they've always known that they needed to not do that. And so, yeah, it was always like a fun brand. All we did for them was all social. We did play like some of the more like brand campaign like ideas and big idea kind of things, but mostly, at least like where I was within the brand and the design team on the brand, was mostly through social.
Right.
So yeah, it's always been kind of that, like, you know, what's the contrast to, you know, the gritty, like more hardcore running brands.
Yeah. Love it. Well, this is fantastic. Congratulations. And as always, we thank you so much for being one of the OGs with us. So appreciate it. We're going to see you in Cincinnati soon. So
great.
I'm looking forward to that. All right, Andy Millard, ladies and gentlemen, excellent work. It's so good. All right, so we're going to move on to number 12. I actually got this right this time. We're back with our friends at Barker. Where's Nancy? Come on, Nancy.
What's up?
There you go. This is Bausch and Lomb, Blink brand design. When I saw this, I said, yep, I get this. I like this a lot. Walk us through the brief a little bit.
I would love to, if I worked on this particular one. I'm so shocked that I'm like standing here. I'm like, oh my God.
Then fake it.
I will. Let's see. Joey did a fantastic job. So what I do know is our team took on this brand. Blink was pretty on the shelf. No one knew about it. They're like, what does this thing do? And had a lot of photography that just felt stale and just your parents' eye drop brand. They came in, they got in a new photographer. They asked to really modernize why people need to have these types of eye drops. And they said people are using our AI. They're playing games. They're doing things that are not like your typical
Right.
spaces that have only recently, like this, whatever that device is called. It's like those only came around just yesterday.
VR.
Our
Yeah,
VR
headsets.
Yeah. And so to interject that, to really just boost them into this next space, Joey did a fantastic job at what colors were vibing, what spaces, how they talk. They made this beautiful mnemonic of like work, play, blink, relief, and just made it so catchy and very smart. And our client for this particular brand has, it's funny, this particular brand comes parallel to the brands that I work on. They were like, can we be more like Blink? Can we do this thing over here? And so it's really been
oh, really?
Yeah, they really love it. And there's so much that they wanted to bring that mnemonic of how impactful, like something so succinct and syncopated could sound, but then also play into like the rules of the media that we have that they rolled out for Blink. So yeah, that's the information I do know. And this brand is very, very cool.
Could have fooled me. That was outstanding. I know. And and what I find interesting is that it does carry across a lot of different areas within other clients. And I love that. I love hearing that. Ingrid, your additions to this Blink story, because shelf space, it's such a competitive place, and standing out can be extraordinarily difficult. And I like the fact that this, and Bausch & Lomb is a very well-known and very well-respected brand. So from your point of view, what were some of the big things in this refreshing, this 3-in-1 extended relief refreshing?
So yeah, some of the challenges are that we do work with a number of Bausch & Lomb brands and need to give each one its own personality and its own look and feel. And when Bausch & Lomb acquired this brand, it had been marketed in the past mostly to healthcare professionals. It was not advertised to consumers. So we were taking an existing brand, but really establishing a consumer facing brand personality and look and feel. And the consumer insight was that consumers didn't want to do the one thing that would probably help them the most, which was look at screens less. So when that's a non-starter, that's, as Nancy was saying, how we came up with the work, play, blink, relief. Like you're going to do the work and the play. So in order to get that relief, you need to add blink.
No, that's being able to bridge clinical and consumer is really challenging, because if you do look at some of the packaging in some of the other brands, they all blend in together a bit. And so I like, and again, I think that when people see that it is Bausch & Lomb, they see that credibility.
And that's a balance also, is balancing the Bausch & Lomb brand credibility name with the Blink, which obviously that was the focus here. To get to know the Blink name.
Where I'm going with this is I'd like, because marketers, CMOs, brand managers, et cetera, we want to make sure that we give them the requisite credit for trusting their agency partners. And it seems like when I look at work like this, it's very clear that, this was the spirit of partnership as opposed to you're a vendor. So talk about that relationship and how it manifested in creating work like this.
So, this is a long-standing relationship for the agency, predates me, but I do know that, through different executives, that trust has been built over time and across brands. Again, that, where our success with one brand team has led to our work with additional brands under the portfolio.
I love that. You want anybody on the brand side you want to say hello to and thank you to?
Well, always to Mary at the top, and the whole Blink
The whole
team.
crew.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Amazing stuff. Congratulations. Again, thank you so much for supporting this mission. And we're going to go ahead and put you backstage so we can wrap this bad boy. I like that wave. That was a good wave, Nancy.
Yep.
All right. We are, people have been waiting patiently.
Yes, they have.
Very, very patiently. I don't even know who's on. Hold on. Let me get everybody in here. Hold on. Hi.
There they are.
Hi. Hi. We are at number 11. Oh my goodness. Partners in Napier. Oh, God bless you for staying. Ah. All right. This blew me away. This just blew me away. Did you see this at all, Kyle, in the judging?
No, this wasn't one of mine.
So, wasn't one of yours.
No.
For Constellation Brands. How do you pronounce it?
Tokalon.
Tokalon. Okay.
Tokalon is the name of the vineyard. It's Tokalon Vineyard. So
and where is it?
It's in Napa.
What part of Napa?
Right in Oakville.
Oh, okay, in Oakville. Okay, got it. Kyle's from Northern California, so we're going to start like geo dropping, name dropping, and geography dropping. This is okay. So I want to get into. I want to start. Let's start with the brief because there's a lot of things I want to unpack on this one. So walk us through the brief.
Sure. So our clients from Constellation Brands, from the international team, came to us. They host these super exclusive wine tastings all around the world for luxury wine buyers and sommeliers. And they wanted us to create this kit, leave behind, that each person would get when they came to these wine tastings, that would really give them this like sense of place while allowing them to learn more about these brands that are part of this Tokalon collective.
Oh my God. This is a leave behind. Look at this. Okay. Now, what I will say, and this is, what's the key?
So the key was revealed underneath as you take out the brochure and the offer letter.
Locker?
You have this wine key, and it didn't actually unlock anything, but it was
okay. It was symbolic, right?
To unlock the vineyard, right? Yeah. So that on the back of that card, it's like, bring this key to our tasting room to get a free tasting.
Oh my God. Like the upmarket tasting. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look at this.
$300 tasting.
Right. Oh my God. This is unreal. So here's what I want to get with on the palette. So Emerald was, I would, and Kyle, check me on this one. Feels like it was early mid 90s. There was a lot of that. There was a lot of Emerald, kind of went away a little bit. And now, but this is so tasteful. Walk us through the creative decisions that were made on, and because this palette is so unique.
Yeah, thanks. We actually started with a couple different mood boards where we had explored some different color palettes. But right from the beginning, we knew they really wanted to focus in on the vineyard and like the magic of the land. So
right.
That initial mood board that they had chosen pulled in all these, green colors from the photography. And then the gold really played really well with that color palette. So we ended up leaning into that color palette pretty heavily.
Sometimes hard to pull off. Kaylee, copy supervisor. These are challenging to do. These are really challenging to do. So what did you find the most challenging, but what did you find the most rewarding as you were shuffling through on copy in particular? And you want to unmute yourself.
Well, I'm in the same room as Meg, so I'm gonna let
you're in the same. So we're not going to get an echo. All right, smart.
You're right, though. It is challenging because this is a group of brands that are all very distinct, and then you have to combine them. They're all from this. All the wines are sourced from the same the same vineyard, but they're all very distinct brands. So finding a way that you didn't lean too much into the history, like the one brand, or too much modern into the other brand, and what you talk about, I think that was probably the toughest thing. And what I love about this is really like how Meg, even that front look with the coordinates on there, we were really able to lean into that number of here's the coordinates, here's the longitude and latitude, because this tiny little certain amount of acres, I think it's like 455 acres, are just so important. It's not this bigger part of the vineyard, it's just this little bit. And how we kind of finding ways to carry that number or the number theme throughout. You can see how we, the different awards or how many years they've been, but really the challenging part was how do you find that nice middle ground for all of these wines without losing the brand essence of each as we go through.
No, I love that. And yeah, I like that you went with the coordinates on that, because it does, for those who even vaguely understand, what this could be, that matters. I mean, up where we are, it's 45 degrees, so we're on the same latitude as Burgundy, and so you start getting a little bit south, and it's like, oh, okay, this is starting to make sense. But just I love that
there's such an exclusivity, but it's so inviting as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's
because of the color palette, because of the way that, I mean, look at the die cut on that. I mean, it is just it's so intensely beautiful. I know that area quite well. I went to school in Sonoma for a bit, and that whole area is just,
Wait, you went to school at Sonoma State?
For one semester before they cut my program. Anyway,
Jesus.
We'll get to that later. But no, I just think, it really speaks of the area, and it speaks of the exclusivity of that certain vineyard. And it's really inviting. It makes me want to go there.
And Rachel's correct.
Yeah.
And that's a compliment. Yeah. Chelsea, what did you learn during this whole thing?
Well, this isn't the first time that I've seen this work be recognized. It's been, really well recognized in the industry, and it's just so beautiful. It doesn't get old for me to see it, and to just get a window into all the intentional touches that the team does to make, something that could be really tactical, just such a work of art. It's amazing. I love it. I love getting to see stuff like this.
What feedback are you hearing from the client? And, obviously we are a results business, which is true. But what are you hearing from the client?
We've gotten really positive feedback from the client. They've had a lot of really successful events. The events do mainly happen overseas in Asia. So it was a bit, we worked a lot with our local printer here, but then also gave them like pretty clear guidelines for producing in Asia as well. So
you haven't gotten a trip out of the deal?
Not yet.
You guys been to the vineyard?
We have been to Tokelan Vineyard and Napa yet. So yes, that's been great.
It is excellent. All right, listen, I'm going to bring everybody on. We're doing a little dating game. Aloha, goodbye. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you so much. That's not friendly music. Let's go with this. There we go. I'm like the epic sweeping music. Congratulations to everybody. We will have all of our winners up on Friday. So we're working on those packages right now. Plus all of our winners will get digital assets to use. We'll eventually get a real paper, like not paper, but quality paper. Quality paper like what Partners in Napier used.
Right.
No die cut though. We're not that. We haven't gotten to that point yet. But seriously, congratulations, everybody. It really is a treat to not just look at the work and celebrate the work, but actually talk about it. Like get in and dig in and get a little nerdy. I mean, Jordan and I have known each other for years, and we nerd out on all kinds of things,
especially die cuts.
Oh God, I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? And then Andy, we might see you tomorrow too. I'm just saying, because tomorrow is places 10 through 4. I don't want to give away too much, but to the folks at Curiosity in Cincinnati, huge hug. to our friends at Partners in Napier. Are all of you in Rochester, or are some of you outside? You're all in Rochester. All right, we're going to the dinosaur. We're going to Dinosaur Barbecue.
Yep.
Yes, we are going. We are going. All right, everybody. On behalf of everybody at Indie Agency News, all three of us, me, Kyle, and Jess Ferris, we will see you again tomorrow. A reminder: we will have places 10 through 4. All right, everybody. Thanks so much, and keep on keeping on.
Bye.